The following is a fan-based discussion. All materials discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, Saban Entertainment, and Subaru Productions.
Hey everybody! Welcome to the I did it again. Den-O month wrap-up.
If you would have said it one more time, you would have showed up.
I know.
Do
Thank you.
But, yes,
so
welcome
afraid.
to the end of Den-O month. Basically, as you can see, this is just Taku Sato month because, and we wanted to do these movies because they're great, and they starred Taku Sato.
And because they're great.
Movies.
The Ruroni Kenshin movies. We have Ruroni Kenshin,
Kyoto Inferno and Ruroni Kenshin, The Legend Ends.
We'll go in order. We're going to start with the first.
Well, I would hope so.
I'm about to say you sort of need one to lead into the other.
Yeah, Ruroni Kenshin. I thought this movie was great.
We're not going to do this as a regular review like we usually do. It's just mostly going to be showing our appreciation for these movies in general.
Well, 2 out of 3 of us are.
Because personal taste is a thing.
Anyway, I thought this movie was very, very good. And I would also like to point out, just keep in mind, only one of us has read the manga. Anyway,
Watch the anime.
I've seen about 8 episodes of the anime, and I've seen all of the anime movies and OVAs.
Well, the reason I wanted to read the manga is because of this movie, actually.
Ah.
I got so curious about this story and because a friend of mine back in when this came out was a diehard fan and hated the first movie because of how inaccurate it was to the source material, which anyway.
That way of thinking I have a lot of problems with.
We can do a rant on that later. So it got me curious, how did the actual, how the manga go? So I read the whole manga in like 2 weeks. It was great. And then the second and third movie came out like a year later. So I thought the first movie was very, very good. I think it did a very good job of taking the source material, but also making something that was much more of a coherent beginning, middle, and end story. There were some creative choices that were made that I didn't think had to be made, but I understand why they were made, because I'm pretty sure at the time of they were making this movie, they did not know they were going to get 2 sequels.
Yeah, I actually completely and utterly believe that. I'm not surprised whatsoever. And that's probably why they changed so much in the first movie.
And I am really glad that they did. I'm going to say this is I'm going to rank it with like the first live-action Death Note movie back from like 2007.
Thank you for clarifying.
I'm not the American one, but the Japanese one, whose actor is in the sequels. But I would rank it up there as one of the best anime adaptations ever because it doesn't follow the manga. When you are adapting, you need to adapt. You have to change things because you are going from one medium to another. There are things you can do in a manga or an anime that is meant to be told over such a long period of time where you are not limited by things like runtime that you can't do in a 2-hour movie.
Fair point.
And I think this does that for the most part very, very well.
Marcus?
I love the first movie, but I definitely do realize that there are some issues, mostly because of the fact that I watched the anime, which, follows the manga a lot closer. And we were just talking about this before. One of the main villains from the last arc of the anime and manga was in the first movie, and they sort of ruined it for going any further than the other 2 movies.
And that was a very good arc in the manga.
Yeah.
But and that's why I think they were not aware they would be getting sequels, because it had a very beginning, middle, and end, did not need to continue story.
But that's one of the things I loved about it. It feels like a complete movie. It has a beginning, it has a middle, it has an end, it has a lead character that has an arc. We see him develop throughout the movie. It has a good story. It's got great action. This is a movie that can be enjoyed by someone who is completely unfamiliar with the manga or anime.
Which is what we'll be doing on the other channel.
And I think Nerd in Denial, go subscribe. I think that is one of the movie's biggest strengths. If you are not familiar with like I said, I've never read the manga. I've seen all the movies, the animated ones.
I'd watch nothing
Yeah.
When I first saw this movie. Not a single thing. Read nothing. I just knew it by name and I knew what it looked like. But then I watched this movie and I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's got great action. It's got good drama. The acting is really good.
The music is so good.
The music is pretty good. It's a little too loud at times.
Fair.
I had a problem with that across all three movies. Was at times the music was just too loud.
I get that.
But it is a movie that can be enjoyed by somebody with no familiarity with Ruroni Kenshin, and I think that's why it's so good. That's one of the reasons why.
Back to the more Toku side of things, of course, this movie stars Takeru Sato, who was to know, and that's the whole premises for this month.
He's fantastic in this movie.
Oh my god, he's so good.
We'll talk more about that at the end. We'll talk more about his character and his acting, his presentation of him. But the guy who ends up playing Jinny Udo, who was the fake Batosai.
Right, he is played by Kamen Rider Skull.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, he's Skull? I thought he was the wolf in Kiva.
No.
I could have sworn he was the wolf in Kiva. That's what you told me when we first watched this movie.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. Mm-mm. And then the guy...
You're misremembering. This was 5 years ago.
You told me he was the wolf in Kiva. And then you told me the hippie that had the fist fight in the kitchen was the
Luna Dopant
in the A to W or A to Z movie.
That is him. And speaking of which, that is a hilarious moment
where they just stop fighting,
eat chicken
and drink sake. I think sake wine.
Well, he couldn't eat it because he was a vegetarian, but he was like, I had sake. He was like, okay.
And they're just like, you good? Yeah. Okay. And they continue. It was
they eat chicken, they drink. That's a great scene.
It is a funny scene.
It's one of the greatest scenes in this movie. And I love that actor. I wish he was in more things. At least not just in... He's probably in more things outside of Toku, but it's just like, that's what I know him from.
Mm-hmm.
He played the weird Luna Dopant in the A to Z movie.
Which is cool. A lot of Toku actors were in this. Now, the thing that me and Marcus immediately gravitated to when we first watched this movie was the fight choreography. Because
it's very, very good.
But Jesus.
And the fact that it's Takeru Sato doing most of the stunts.
Mm-hmm.
The moment in the final, like, the climax of the movie where he does that sideways run around the lawn.
Yeah, it's like...
Still love that
It's
moment.
done with wires, yeah.
But we don't give a shit.
It's actually him doing the running and the movements, and it's just so great. Like, he does some break dancing in this, and I'm sitting here like, you can't be in Guide, but it's him. And he reminds me so much of Jackie Chan in that case, just because of the fact that he's doing so many of his own stunts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll talk about some more of the other ones when we get to the other two movies, but yeah, he's just great in this. I love the guy who plays Saito, the police officer.
Oh yeah, Saito's very good.
He is very good.
He has one of the worst moments.
Yosuke Iguchi.
He has one of the worst moments in the first movie, though.
You mean the part where he turns into Peter Pan?
Yes, when he jumps up
to the chandelier
and brings it down.
Because the bad guys have the minigun that they're trying to mow down Kenshin and Sagara with.
Which they somehow never hit, but I'm not gonna
question it.
No. But that moment, he's just like, wee!
Yeah, we're just like,
oh, God.
Like, it's weird because of the fact that it just takes you out of the movie so hard.
The movie, for the most part, has been pretty grounded up to this point.
Yeah.
Then, I believe I can fly.
You can fly.
It's weird, too, because it's like, you see him jump up first, so he goes straight up.
He doesn't really jump. Forward. He just thrusts, and it's just like magic.
No, there's like a moment where he has to jump to get his legs off of the floor before the wires can take him. So he goes straight up really quickly, and then goes forward. And I'm just like, I was just taken out of the magic.
Saito!
Woohoo! He took me out of the magic, and I was like,
that was like the one, like, oh God, cringe moment in this entire movie.
Because otherwise,
it just makes me laugh.
Yeah, that part was just. Honestly.
Another part that makes me laugh, I can't remember which movie it was, but I'm pretty sure it was this one. He blocks I can't remember his name. The guy with the giant sword that he doesn't take
Sakura.
He blocks 3 people with it, throws them into the ravine, and one guy is still under it when it goes under, and it's well, he drowned. He's still there.
In the scene where Kenshin and Sagara siege on the main guys, the villain's mansion, their lair. And he just takes his sword, and Sagara takes his sword and throws it at like 3 people, and then just drop kicks it, knocking all of them down. And then
that's when the last time we see that sword. Just like...
He doesn't use it a lot.
No,
I don't blame him, because that thing must have been really heavy to lug around.
He stops using it in the manga, too, because he learns a hand-to-hand technique.
Yeah, it's wrestling. His finisher is a suplex, and it's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the first movie is great. It does a very good job of introducing the characters, but as you said, there are definitely some things.
It combined 2 arcs of the manga, if I recall.
And relegated one of those arcs to just a side character.
One of them was very early on in the anime.
I'm not talking about the final arc.
The bit with Gine happens in the first, 7 episodes.
Yeah.
That's very early
and
on.
then the opium arc, which is...
And then the opium arc is right after that.
Yeah.
In the anime, that's right
that
after
part I
that.
didn't mind, because combining those two actually sort of worked.
It did.
I thought it did. But one of my biggest problems with this movie is, other than Gine, there aren't the villains are not that great.
No, they're not. It's very generic.
The guy's dressed in white, you have the kind of goofy looking guy with the glasses.
He looks like he kind of reminds me of the villain from the Lorax animated.
Oh my god! I never thought about that, but oh my god, you're right.
That is a reference.
Oh my goodness.
That's
awful.
With a cigar instead.
Like the villain, none of them. You're right. None of them are really that good.
And,
Takeda is hilarious in his own weird way.
Yeah,
because he's such a bitch. But yeah.
Then you got the kid who wants to, fight, but he's, 12.
Yahiko.
And he's
he was used appropriately in this.
He was.
Little.
They didn't use him very much.
And that's how he was used in the actual manga for these arcs. Though eventually he becomes Kenshin's apprentice and successor of the sword. He gets the
the Sakabato.
Yeah, the Sakabato. Kenshin gives it to him, and it's amazing. So, I wish I could see that in live action, but I'm okay with not saying that in live action.
Speaking of which, let's go ahead and move on to the second movie, Kyoto Inferno. I love Shishio's introduction.
Yeah.
Where he's in just that one building. The police end up having a raid on it, along with Saito. And they just get massacred, except for Saito.
And this is the second movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go.
I absolutely love how this movie opens.
Yeah.
That when they're getting massacred by... One of my biggest complaints about the first movie, the one thing that really held it back, not a good villain. We are introduced to Shishio in this movie, and I'm like, oh my god, they've solved the problem. And then they screw it up so badly because he's barely in the movie and he does nothing.
In this one?
Which is explained.
Which is fine.
This is a huge problem I have with this movie. This is not a complete movie. This whole movie is setting up for another movie. Shishio is barely, and they got one second.
What's his sidekick's name? That's what I'm gonna call him.
There's more than one.
I'm talking about the one who breaks the Sakamoto.
Oh, the kid.
Yeah.
Seita. Sojiro Seita.
Yeah.
You get to see him.
Tatsuya Fujiwara is the actor's name. That's the guy who played Light in Death Note in the live-action movies.
Oh, cool.
And he was in Battle Royale. He's been in tons of stuff. They get a really good actor to play him. He looks really menacing. That scene where he's got those policemen strung up over the fire and then drops them into it, that is an awesome scene. And then the movie just immediately goes downhill.
Actually, I don't think it goes downhill. I think it's just because of the fact that, once again, this is much more of an adaptation. People know who Shishio is, especially going into it. So it's just like having that and then just backing him off because they know he's just such a big threat, which they really build up to in the third movie.
What they kind of really don't explain in the movie is his physical limitations as a character. In his story, they don't really explain his
backstory was interesting.
It is interesting, but what I'm saying is that there was a physical limitation that prevented him from fighting. He had no more sweat glands.
They tell you that in the movie.
Yeah, but they don't really make it such a big deal. So I feel like with the fact that is a physical limitation is the reason why he's not in the movie. But I absolutely understand what you're saying. We have such a great villain. Honestly, the most, everybody's favorite villain in the series is this one. And he's not in the movie. I get that.
He's barely in this movie, and we spend the rest of it. This movie is it ends about 40 minutes after it feels like it should have ended. It's way, way, way too long.
They're all about 2 hours and 14 minutes.
Except for the first and this one should have only been 100. I feel like you could have cut so much out of this thing.
Yeah, but I think the issue was I think they did the opposite of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They got a very successful first movie, and then they got a sequel, and they wanted to please the hardcore fans more. And to please the hardcore fans more, you make it more accurate to the source material, which we just discussed is a problem because you have that thing called runtime.
You have a thing called runtime. You also have a thing called inside baseball.
Yeah.
If you're only trying to please the hardcore fans with an adaptation of any kind, you're going to fail. You need to focus the first thing you need to focus on is making a good movie. A Herculean effort in and of itself, but that needs to be your first priority. If the hardcore fans are pissed at you, that's a pretty small minority. If the general movie-going audience likes your movie, and they're the ones going out to see it multiple times, then you've succeeded.
I think the issue, though, with movies like this, it's not as much of a minority as you might think it would be in terms of the hardcore fans. People who, most people won't...
For a Japanese audience, I can understand why you'd say that.
And I'll put it into an American audience standard. Not a lot of people are going to go see a movie based off a video game. Most people are going to go, who've never thought to watch Tomb Raider are going to go see Tomb Raider. People who know what Tomb Raider is are going to go see Tomb Raider to see if it sucks. But
he has a very good point.
So I think when it came to DC, and that was also
I disagree with you though, because one of the reasons Tomb Raider, the most recent one, isn't doing so well is because it didn't have a good marketing campaign.
Very true.
If you have a good marketing campaign, you have strong word of mouth, then the general movie-going audience will go see your movie.
Very true.
Yeah.
But now,
that makes it real, because we all know this is probably going to be bad. You can, agree to disagree with me here. The Solo movie.
The what?
The Han Solo movie.
Oh, yeah. I heard Soho, so I was confused.
We've gotten a total of, 2 trailers for
a teaser and a trailer?
No, another one just came out.
Oh,
did it?
Yeah.
I still have not seen
this
anything
This
about
one
it.
that just came out, I mean, I'm
not
interested in that movie at all, but...
Deadpool 1.
Deadpool 2.
The marketing campaign... Well, Deadpool 1's marketing campaign was a stroke of genius.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
But back to our main topic. In this aspect of Japan... People who are going out to the movie theater to watch a movie that's based on a manga are people who are already familiar with the manga most of the time. At least I believe so.
Especially because this is something from a lot of these people's childhood.
Yeah, this is an old manga. Yeah, this is an old manga.
It could be.
So,
let's talk about some of these characters. I enjoyed their introduction to Seita when he kills that official.
Oh, yeah.
Because it shows off his speed immediately because he catches up with that carriage.
That scene was very good. Here's my problem with Seita. He just annoyed the hell out of me.
Valid.
He just annoyed the hell out of me.
That's sort of the point, and they really toned him down.
They did.
In the manga and the anime, he's a lot more sadistic. Because he's really messed up.
He's a messed up.
I can believe that, but I thought this actor did a pretty good job.
No, yeah.
Yeah, he definitely did. He worked with what he got.
His name. I was
going to say,
I don't think there was a single actor in any of these movies I probably could have found someone better. Or he probably could have done a better job. The acting in these movies were great. But
they're at the very least good.
But as we have stated multiple times on this channel, an actor can only do but so much when they're not given a good script.
Well, if you have a good director, you can make a bad script good.
And, there are other characters who are in Misao. I love her, because the first thing she tries to do is steal Kenshin's sword to sell it.
Okay, I want to bring up something. Bitches be crazy.
Yeah.
In the world of Ruroni Kenshin, bitches be crazy.
This movie...
Because Ruroni Kenshin 1 opens up with Kaoru trying to, whack him over the head with a wooden sword, because she thinks he's a murderer. And then this one, it's not the beginning of the movie, but we get Misao going I'm going to steal your sword, and trying to beat him up.
To be fair, in the first movie, he was a murderer.
Yes, but she at the time,
he was still a murderer.
But she at the time didn't know that.
Yeah. I still like her though, and I love what happens immediately after because they find that boy.
It just felt like such a repetition of that same beat from the first movie. I'm like, this is exactly the same scene as last time.
Yeah, it's I don't fault that. I liked her better though. Kaoru still annoyed me more in this movie than she didn't.
Kaoru never bothered me that much.
She did. I had a problem with her because she just don't kill him, and I'm sitting here it's Shishio though. You gotta remember what he does. But I still love, as soon as they end up meeting that kid in the middle of that field and his brother dies, they go to that village. It's weird for me to say the second movie has one of my favorite scenes in the entire series.
Really? Which
that fight in the village, when he's fighting against those 50 guys, is amazing.
There are again, the fights are good. The problem is I just didn't care as much this time.
I did.
That for me was the biggest
See,
problem.
I can absolutely understand where he's coming from. It's that awkward... this movie is that awkward middle child that kind of just doesn't feel like it should really be there completely. But it has to tell there are certain moments that happen in this movie that kind of have to be told for the rest of, like, the third movie to have certain context and make sense.
And for me,
I just love, because, like, as soon as that scene
it's a catch-22.
Yeah. As soon as that scene starts and the guy tries to come up to Kenshin and hit him, and Kenshin just real quick, and I'm just like, well, here we go.
I still think one of my favorite moments of Kenshin being a complete badass is in the first movie where the guys attack Kaoru's dojo.
Yes!
Kenshin takes the wooden swords, smacks the guy over the head, and they just break because of how hard he hit the guy.
I would also like to point out that this movie did a great job in making things that happen in the manga and anime that are physically impossible somehow still sort of happen, but not to the same extent.
Yeah.
In that scene in the manga, he uppercuts somebody with the sword and he goes into the roof. Cartoon style. You can't do that in live action, so we'll just take two and smack.
No, we saved all our cartoon budget for...
There is in this movie they introduce a random fucking character in terms of the movie, which I did have fault with this, who wears a long trench coat and dual wields two blades. Made no sense.
Is this the guy with the orange hair?
No.
Aoshi. You'd have to pull up a picture of him.
I don't remember.
He's the guy.
Let me put this. He was the guy in the mask. In the first movie, the mask guy who turned out to be the blonde dude. This was the guy who was actually under the mask. I'm pretty sure in the manga.
Oh, okay.
So they had to introduce him
because I don't remember who this guy was.
Yeah, he served little to no purpose. He has this he fights Kenshin in the middle of the woods for no reason because he's trying to get revenge for the assassins Kenshin killed.
This is in the second movie, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you're talking about Aoshi, but he didn't
That's probably why I don't
do it.
This.
He was more doing it because his men were all killed, and he was just like, I have to prove that I'm the strongest.
My point was, he has this really dumb, bullshit technique in the manga where he stabs the end of one sword that he has, because he dual wields, to launch it forward, which is really stupid, would not work ever. But he still does in the movie, but differently. He tosses the sword up and backhands it. And I'm like, that makes a little more sense. That is my point.
A little.
But, it's trying to show it's trying to tell them we know he can do it, but that's not physically possible, so we're trying.
Yeah, and it worked well within their limitation.
Yeah, they work well within the limitations.
Also, I want to mention that this movie...
Unless you're Saito.
Especially because I'm looking at it on here. This movie shares its budget with the third movie.
Oh, yeah.
They were probably shot simultaneously.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. Both of them had a combined budget of $30 million US.
Ooh. That's not a lot for a movie.
No, that's big. That's big for a Japanese movie.
Yeah,
I know,
it's big
for a Japanese movie. That's pretty big.
Then we have the part.
The port.
The part at the port.
I don't talk this much in videos lately. I don't talk this much in videos anymore. Where I'm pretty sure
talking about something you're interested in.
Very true. The second movie where the Sakamoto is broken.
Yes.
And I can't remember if he gets the new one.
That whole arc where he has to get it fixed drove me nuts.
That, I think, is the only arc they could have cut.
Yeah.
They really, really should have
that
guy with the orange hair, who comes
Do you know who that was?
I don't freaking care.
It's Ankh.
It's Ankh.
Wait, the actor was Ankh?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I thought his face looked familiar.
That's Ankh.
Oh my goodness.
I knew that when they were making the movie, they announced Ankh was going to be in it.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that was not in the realms of possibility that they could not do it at all. In the manga, he has a sword that is made of a metal that can bend like ribbon, and it's wrapped around his stomach. So he literally but they couldn't do that in real life.
So they gave him
he holds two swords at once, which just seems like an infinitely worse idea.
Yeah.
But I mean...
That's Ryosuke Miura. Oh my god.
Yeah, they couldn't do the wrapping around the stomach sword, so they gave him a split blade.
Yeah.
Instead, that turned out to be two swords.
That entire bit could have been cut.
I still like this guy. I thought he was
that and the whole thing, he has to get it repaired, and he gets the true Sakamoto, and blah 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 blah. Just, yeah.
The old guy.
This movie is 1,000. It feels way too long, and there's too many characters. Those are my two.
The old ninja guy who ends up fighting Aoshi.
Yeah, that dude.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Aoshi did not have to be in any of these movies. I know he's a lot of people's favorites, but I'm sorry, in terms of the plot,
Sawagejo Cho is the character's name.
And in the plot of this movie, he did not fit.
That's all.
Yeah, it felt like But it made more sense because they had to give us that big thing at the end of the third movie, which we're going to go ahead and move on to now.
Okay.
Because, Kenshin tries to go and fight Shishio. That doesn't work. They
get on the boat. Kaoru is thrown off the boat. He jumps in to rescue her. And then at the end of the second movie, we see a mysterious man pick up Kenshin on a beach and carry him off.
That's the guy I was talking about, if you recognize that.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
That guy.
The guy who
wasn't he in the third movie too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, that's the character.
Okay, that's the anime version of
yeah.
me.
So... You can see why they went with the crazy fucking hair.
Let's go ahead and get to The Legend Ends.
This is one of those things that looks good in a manga or an anime, but you put it in live action.
Translate.
It doesn't work.
It does not translate. But it's Ankh, so I gave it a shot.
Although Ankh's hair is his real hair, so...
True. Which would have been fine by itself. Would have been fine
yeah, that
by
would have
itself.
been fine.
But anyway, we are getting way off track. I apologize. The Legend Ends.
Fitting title.
There is one character who was in the manga, had like a big fight with Saito, and...
Is it Turtle Show Man?
Yes.
Oh yeah!
The guy who crushed a dude's head at the banquet.
And just became like a background character in this movie.
I am totally fine with that.
But you can see him and you're like, there he is! Good, that's enough. Thank you.
That's all we need. We don't need... There's too many characters in these movies as is. We don't need to keep fleshing out more. I am so glad they just kept him as big, strong background man with a cool weapon and costume, and Saito just bitches him. It was awesome.
I wish they could have done the bullshit thing he does in the manga where he does his big stab move, and somehow the guy gets cut in half, and I'm sitting there going, how?
Because he went down.
So he
just did it too fast.
Alright, yes, The Legend Ends. So the guy who ends up picking up Kenshin was his old master.
Turns out to be his old master.
Who's also looks a lot younger than he should be. Which is an ongoing...
Yacht hasn't aged in 40 years.
I'm talking about the character.
And you have a very good point. He looks like his cheeks are a little bit thinner. We're talking about Gak here. He's looked the same. I remember I have one of his albums from 97.
Yeah.
He looks exactly
except
his cheeks are a little bit skinnier. And I'm sitting here like, you vampire.
You vampire.
Well,
the way he dresses, he has to.
Which is perfect because it's literally a running joke in the manga that both his master and Kenshin look younger than they should be.
Yeah.
Because they're like, Kenshin, how old are you? 28? Bullshit. You look 19. No.
At most.
I was like, no, I'm 28. He was 19 when he slaughtered, a few.
But yeah, I love the fact that we do get to meet his master.
Oh, is that the?
That's the anime version of the master.
That's Pointy Man.
No, that's the anime version of.
Oh, that's the master. Oh my goodness, yeah, he looks really young.
So, and that was a thing in the manga. He had because apparently Kenshin never finished his training. He left.
There's a secret
to
technique
go to war.
He
left to go to war.
Mm-hmm.
And so his master is teaching him this technique after
What's the master's name?
Yes.
Hiko Seijiro.
Okay.
That's the master's name. And I like his character.
That's the bit where he breaks the swords.
Sorry.
I like his character.
No, the character.
I like the master a lot.
He's pretty get out. At low, he just get out.
But yeah, remember, he left. He left his training incomplete to go fight in a war that the master did not believe in.
Yeah.
So I would be get out too.
There are a lot of things I love in this movie. I love the fact that we just get a big iron battleship that Shishio just on. And I'm just like, okay.
No one questions it.
No one questions it.
And he doesn't use that battleship very much.
No.
For having a giant iron battleship that's loaded with guns aimed at Tokyo. It's Tokyo, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to attack and destroy, throw down the new government. Because they betrayed me.
After Kyoto, they go to Tokyo.
He's got this, all these guns aimed on the town, but he's just like, no, I'm not going to use them very much.
And he basically just has it there as a threat.
Yeah.
Because they make a point of that in this movie. It's just how the hell do you control the government? Why is the government just bending over for you?
Yeah.
And, trying to capture Kenshin.
Can we just agree that he is a master of overcompensating with flashy things that he doesn't actually
his
use?
body's on fire.
You mean the fact that he's a freaking Dark Souls boss?
The fact that he's a freaking Dark Souls boss, the giant battleship, and a sword that is on fire!
Yes. That's what I meant by he's a Dark Souls boss.
Seriously,
when he and Kenshin have their fight at the end, and he starts swinging that sword around and flames are coming off of it, I'm like, This is now a video
before
game.
we get to that,
He's
let's
a
talk
Dark
about-
Souls boss.
They do explain how that works in the manga. It's the most bullshit explanation I've ever heard.
Okay, well then I'm glad they didn't put it in here. Because honestly, I'm okay with them not explaining it.
Because in the manga, his sheath, the inside of his sheath was lined with like animal fat, and his blade is actually teethed. And there's flint at the end, so when he unsheaths it, it makes a spark and goes again and ignites the animal.
Because it does it when he it does when he
just swings.
He just swings and it's like fire. So I'm like, I'm just
like
gonna,
it's cool.
It was cool, but honestly, I think that's all they were going for, and it's all that it needed.
I think
to
they were
be.
just going. For
I mean,
this late in the movie, that's all that it needed to be, because this happens at the very
also
that
entire fight was awesome. Just
we'll
four guys on him.
We'll get to
I think it went on a little too long.
I will admit with that.
We'll get to that.
But
Kenshin and Aoshi's first fight, and really their only fight, where Kenshin just beats the absolute shit out of him. And I love, like, this in the forest, and I love that entire scene because there are a couple of moments where Kenshin is just like running up trees, running around trees and everything.
You know, one of the things I loved about this movie though was the change of scenery.
Yep.
Yeah.
So much of the first, like, once again, I thought this one was a little bit too long, but most of the movie takes place in the forest, and it looks beautiful.
Yeah. It's
looks
like
really good.
that soft green in the back. It's like that scene in House of Flying Daggers.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Yeah,
but yeah, I love the two of them fighting because
we should review that.
That is a great movie.
We should review that whole trilogy that Zhang Yimou did.
He did 3?
Yeah, he did a Hero, House of Flying Daggers, Curse of the Golden Flower.
Oh, I didn't see
that. Oh, it's okay. It's the worst of the 3, but it's okay.
We might have a new show.
Just random movie reviews.
Chinese movies now.
Live action reviews.
There's that. The actual fight between.
I say live action reviews like Sentai.
Isn't that all we ever do?
Yeah.
Sorry.
The thing, the fight between Seita and Kenshin on the boat.
Oh yeah.
When they had their rematch.
After Turtle Man ends up getting bodied by
Saito.
Honestly, I love the fact that Saito just wasted a single hit. I love that.
Because Saito, I wish they built him up more than what they did in some cases. But I love the fact at the same time that they didn't, because he's strong. Because he fought Kenshin.
I thought he was used appropriately.
Yeah, it's just like they sort of made him a back character because it's supposed to be like sort of an anti.
They could have. They should have kind of done the same thing with Ank's character. No offense. He shouldn't
have even been in the movie.
They did it because he's Ankh, and the fact that you're having Deno fight Ankh.
True.
I never thought about that, but you're completely right. It's Deno now that I know that it is Ankh, it's Deno fighting Ankh.
Which is kind of
and Ankh is just holding 2 swords.
Because the first one was Deno versus Skull.
It was Deno versus Skull, and this one is Deno versus Light.
That's the point.
And at the end, it's dark.
And at the end, it's dark.
But yeah, that fight between...
there's no more light.
I love whenever, Seita comes on the screen, they do the running thing, the camera follows him.
Mm-hmm.
So you, see him, and he chops down his 2 police officers really quickly, and then he starts fighting Kenshin. And then Kenshin was just I'm tired of you, and hits him in the foot.
You know what my favorite scene in this whole movie was? It was the battle on the beach.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's my favorite scene.
Battle on the beach,
it was such a great crowd fight because there's a lot of characters, a lot of people fighting, but I always knew who was fighting who.
Yeah.
Because the heroes stand out.
Yeah.
The bad guys blend in, so we just know who's kicking ass, and it's really good.
That also the costumes in these movies overall are fantastic.
They're very, very good.
They are very, very good. They are very, very faithful.
Costumes and sets have a sense of not only faithfulness, but period accuracy.
Especially because of the budget that they were going
Yeah.
It's just this is incredibly accurate.
Can you imagine the, master costume designer for this movie gets handed the script for the second two, and she realizes she's got to clothe a guy in bandages who's burned from head to toe and just goes, fuck. And then she pulled it off so well.
She probably went, ooh, a challenge. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk about the last fight, because that's basically what we were leading up to.
Yeah.
I love the fact that it's all 4 of them.
Yeah, not just...
It's all 4 of them fighting a Shishio, and he's just holding his own very well.
He doesn't feel pain. His nerves are damaged. And he's perpetually on fire inside.
Yeah.
So it's just like...
Because he doesn't have any sweat glands, so his body can't cool down.
Yeah. I love how...
And as a med student, I'm trying to think about... The entire time I was trying to, like, sit there and think about, like, the actual medical science behind how that works. That's the thing. I stopped very quickly.
Your head
I was
hurt.
like, wait a minute. So the sweat glands are how deep to the skin, and then but he's... Oh, God.
And then
I just gave up. I was like, you know what? It's a movie. Just enjoy it.
I just love how ruthless they make Shishio.
I love that about him.
Because
if only he was in the movie more.
Yeah,
once again, he's barely in this movie. He only he has like that banquet in the beginning, and then he shows up at the very end.
They make him kill that girl who cared for him.
Oh yeah,
yeah. She's whatever her name was.
She gets in front of him when he's down, and
he stabs Kenshin through her, and she's like, "Yay, I was useful."
Yeah, I have Stockholm syndrome.
But I love...
Is that Stockholm syndrome or just something else?
Harley Quinn syndrome.
Harley Quinn syndrome. That's a good one.
And once again, Sanosuke ends up getting a fight with that monk.
Yep.
Right before this. Which is also, once again, hilarious. Anytime Sanosuke...
Because the monk is the one who teaches him the hand-to-hand technique I was referring to earlier, which he can use to break bolters. Mm. But it's very interesting. There's a lot
It's a very good fight.
But yeah, I love that we have Sanosuke, Saito, and Kenshin fighting him. But then Aoshi comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how he got there. He might have been on the boat.
He should not have been in this movie.
But I just got so confused with his actual character because I'm sitting here like, where did you come from?
Last time we saw him, he was bedridden.
No, he got up and left.
That's like he got up and left, and then he went all the way to Tokyo.
He said the only one who's going to kill the Batosai is me, and then he starts fighting Shishio.
Yeah.
And then it's all
no
four
one
of them
kills Kakarot but me.
Basically. And then it's all four of them fighting Shishio, and I'm like, one, this is cool. And I love how Shishio just keeps tossing his eyes, and he was like, who the hell are you?
He's like, I don't need to gag you.
I'm gonna punch you.
Get out of my fight scene. Yeah.
And then Kenshin at the end of it ends up fighting him by himself and uses that technique.
He uses the secret technique.
And basically just breaks his face.
Yeah.
That's literally what he does. It's just like the bottom half of the Sakamoto just comes up with...
I like and don't like because, and I'm going to be a hypocrite for saying this, they actually don't beat him in the manga from what I remember.
They didn't really beat him in this either.
Well, they don't beat him, period. He is.
Well, they don't kill him, but then he's on the ship and it explodes.
Well, no, he is beaten by his own hubris. He does not stop fighting no matter what. He oversees his time limit and he, for lack of a better term, spontaneously combusts.
That's basically what happened here.
But
he spontaneously combusted at the end of the day. Really, at the end of it, it was much more of a waiting game.
Yeah, there was never a moment where they really where Kenshin had the upper hand. It was just always they were equal, and then.
But I think with Kenshin besting him with the secret technique in the end, I think it's safe to say that Kenshin is the one who won the fight.
Yeah,
yeah,
because that was the thing. Movies need a clear ending, a clear victor, a clear good guy, a clear bad guy.
Now,
whereas in the manga, you can kind of just go. If he did, we don't know what would have happened if he didn't have his injury.
I mean, he could have done that in this movie too. It's just
fun fact.
They didn't. Yeah.
Wikipedia. They were supposed to do another sequel.
Oh shit!
But the lady who played Kaoru got married and got pregnant.
Oh.
So, and this is in September of last year. So,
well, they could just recast.
In the fourth one.
Yeah. It's happened before in so many
I know,
movies.
But I honestly just hate it when they do that.
The story comes first. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you get to play the character.
But yeah, I honestly can say I love all three of these movies just because I view them for their actors, their scenery, and for the action. And the action is the thing that ends up standing out the most because I just remember so much of it. That's why I love that fight in the second movie of him in the village. Because just him versus all those guys and just destroying them. And I love everybody in this movie. I love who they got to portray them. Takeru Sato was perfect.
Yep. He's very, very good.
I was honestly skeptical when the first movie was coming out because I just remember him being that goofy guy in Den-O.
Yeah.
But I also was just learning acting at the time. And Marcus brought up a great point that he was the one who, in our Den-O review, every time he got possessed by somebody, it was still him acting those parts.
Mm-hmm.
So I got so much more respect for him as an actor
He's
after watching Den-O again and watching these movies.
Yeah, that's basically what leads us up to this. Like, coming from Den-O to this, just like, he's so flexible at being an actor. And, you know, he's in some other things now. I remember he was in that police drama, like, a couple of years ago. And then he's in that movie based on that other anime that I can't remember the name of right now. Inuyashiki. He's in that. Yep. He's in live action adaptation.
That comes out this year.
And he's playing a villain in this.
He's also in Ajin.
Yeah, he was the main character in Ajin.
Oh, cool.
So it's just like, he's such a flexible actor. It's just like, he was the perfect choice.
And he was in Ultraman X.
He was.
He played a character named Takaru.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like,
Yamagishi.
He's just so immensely flexible at being an actor and just portraying so many roles. It's just like, going back and watching Den-O again, it's just like, I understand the appreciation for him as an actor and how he got as big as he did. Which is also, I can say the same thing about Gendero from Forze. Because he's on a lot of stuff too.
And he's playing another famous shonen protagonist in an upcoming movie.
Yes, Mr. Strawberry himself.
That was Forze.
He said Gentaro.
Oh, I zoned out.
Sota Fukushi is his actor.
I zoned out and missed the Gentaro part. Sorry.
But yeah, it's just like everybody they picked to play these parts, even Aoshi, even though he was sort of really underutilized and underappreciated in this movie because he's sort of weird in his placing. But, you know, the guy who they got to play Saito and play Sanosuke, it's just like, I believed it.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it.
Get out. Get out, Black Naruto.
But yeah, I just really appreciated him as the actor. He was just perfect as playing Kenshin. And yeah, I
again, all the actors who were chosen in these movies, I think, I really couldn't think of
anybody else who could have done it.
No. Like, even the stupid ones, Ankh. And his stupid character. I feel like Ankh was a perfect choice for that stupid character.
I think he was a perfect choice for the stupid character, but that being said, I thought it was a stupid character. And I wish he wasn't in the movie.
He was just enough of a bastard to really make that character be a thing. And that's what that character was. That character was a bastard.
The instant he shows up, it's like, oh, I hate you.
You look my levels of hatred of you are as high as your hair.
You look like a complete dope.
But it's just, there's an appreciation for the ability to be these characters, especially because they're so well established, especially in Japanese culture, that you become them and just like, I can't think of anyone else, really ever, who could have played it as well as he did. Yeah. I love these movies.
These are great movies.
These are great, fun, just sit down for 2 hours and have fun with them.
It's one great movie, one bad movie, and one okay movie, in my opinion.
I enjoyed all three.
I enjoyed all three. But looking at them from a subjective standpoint versus an objective standpoint, I do agree with a lot of the things that he said.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, let us know what you think about the Ruroni Kenshin movies in the comments below.
Did you like them, hate them? What did you think of how the changes they made from the manga? We love hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
And this would put an end to quote-unquote Den-O month.
Yes! Takaru
Sato month. We love you, man.
he's so great.
He's my Kenji-Oba.
But yeah, next time, what episode will that be? 50?
Can we stop numbering them?
3?
That might be a good idea.
54, I think.
54. Episode 54.
Episode next.
Will be Jyuken Sentai Gekiranger. We're going back to Sentai. I feel like it's been a while. It has been a while.
Because it's been a month.
No, it's been like 2.
Geki.
Because last one we did was Bokenger.
Oh, God. It has been a while. Too.
But yeah, next, we will be doing Jyuken Sentai Gekiranger. I'm so excited. It's been like, I'm in the middle of rewatching it now. It's just like, I remember why I liked this show a lot. So, I'm just so excited to review Gekiranger. And I know Matt is too, because we just enjoy it.
We like the Kung Fu.
Yeah. Jacob, we don't know if he'll be here.
Probably. I think it's safe to say no.
Yeah.
For now, I'll go ahead and assume no.
At the time of filming this, we do have a full month, full 3 weeks before it comes out.
The video.
We'll see.
But, as always, follow us on Facebook, Twitter.
Become a patron.
Become a patron.
Patronize us. I'm going to keep using that word wrong.
Yes.
On purpose.
Yep.
And you keep doing that, I'll keep getting sent # Marcus Loves Ghost.
I hate all of you still.
I love all of you.
This is the greatest.
And I also hate you.
I don't care.
Because of the Amazons one.
You saw it. You had to see it coming.
Oh, I said that in the said that in the tweet. It was only a matter of time.
Speaking of that, that's
it was
on
only a matter of time.
Amazon Video now, like on the American one. The first season, at least, the good one.
I thought you meant the picture of him.
No,
that picture of me is just on Amazon Prime.
The first season.
That's the thumbnail for the show.
The first season of Kamen Rider Amazon.
What the hell show is this?
I must watch it to find out. We'll see you
Why
guys.
is this dope's face photoshopped onto Haruhi?
We'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.